I-bonds. So when I get text messages from two buddies, I get 3 emails from clients, and people start writing me and reading about these vehicles, inflationary bonds, I figure it's time to educate and talk about them. So let's have some fun, shall we? So what's an I-bond? Inflationary bond issued by the government. Generally, they're 30-year bonds. Now, the hubbub, what's all the hubbub these days? Well, everyone's afraid of inflation, and inflation is here in some regards, and I totally get it. Let's demystify this because I think there's some misnomers. First of all, an I-bond, very safe because the government issued, so there's really very little risk of a default, which is always a big concern with bonds. Now, there are 30-year holds, so generally there are 30-year bonds. You can get out after a year, but if you hold it less than 5 years, what happens? Well, if you get out at any point less than 5 years, you'll give up the last 3 months' interest. Now, there's two portions of an inflationary bond. One is a fixed rate. You ready for it? That fixed rate is 0. So there's 0 rate on the fixed portion if you buy an inflationary bond right now. Second is the inflationary component, which moves with CPI, Consumer Price Index, and it's adjusted every 6 months. This is what people, I think, are really buying into, sort of the hype that people are buying into. So with the inflationary component, the variable piece, every 6 months, that varies and adjusts. So if you're looking this year at only this year, well, and you buy one, well, you better think about holding it for longer, because if you get out again before 5 years, you're gonna lose the benefit of even if you got a 7% interest rate, take a quarter off and forget about it. And so it's not generally the best investment for short term. Now the interest is tax free, so you have that benefit. The maximum amount you can purchase is $10,000. And I believe you can even use $5,000 additional dollars through a tax refund. So you can't buy that much of it. You're locked into it. And really, when you talk about long-term interest rate expectations for these things, the Fed has a mandate to try to get between 2 to 3% inflation. So that's kind of where we look at these things long-term. I think they're getting some short-term bump up. They're fine vehicles. They're fine short-term or long-term holds. I think they're very safe, but they're long-term holds that I don't know the juice is worth the squeeze, especially when you're talking about generally a small amount of funds. If you have plenty of money, you want to leave in cash, you want to forget about these dollars for the time being, at least 5 years, then sure, go put $10,000 there. Right. But I believe most people that are texting me or being informed by their cousins, uncles, brothers, best friends, housekeepers, aunts, uncle. I think most people are thinking you can buy a ton of this stuff. You can get these high inflationary interest payments and get out. No questions asked. They just don't work like that. Again, sometimes the things sound too good to be true. They generally are. So that's inflationary bonds. We're not huge on them. Honestly, in our bond portfolio, we'll hold more tips, which is more, we think, appropriate and a better long-term hold. And and even though they're a smaller percentage of our overall bond holding. But there you have it. A little information for you. Maybe it goes a long way. As always, I'm Andrew Rosen, President of Diversified. Stay wealthy, stay healthy, and stay happy.